Welcome to this episode of Bounded in a Nutshell. Remember to take a moment to click on the link below to donate to a very special organization. Figure Skating in Harlem is the first organization in the world to combine the power of education with the grace and discipline of figure skating. It is dedicated to developing confidence, leadership, and academic achievement in young girls from low-income backgrounds. The numerous stories of success from its alumni owe a great deal to the unique blend of mentoring and self-expression that is championed by FSH. Remember, no donation is too small or too large to keep the dream alive for these exceptional young girls. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show. Great. Welcome, guys, to this, our final masterclass on Bounded in a Nutshell. It's so weird to say it because, I've grown very used to you guys, but hey, it's amazing that we're here. It's amazing that Deborah will be leading it. So we should get started. Thank you for joining us today, Deborah, and thank you guys for joining in. And the order of events today will be Carly, Emily, Jenna, Kelly, Mark, Malin, Rebecca, Sue, all right? And as usual, you introduce yourself, tell us where you are, a little bit of background of the piece you're about to do, and then launch in. So enjoy.
Okay, hi, should I just start? Hi, I'm Carly. I am quarantining on Long Island, and I'm gonna be doing Isabel's Measure for Measure piece. To whom should I complain? Did I tell this? Who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or a proof, bidding the law make curtsy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow as it draws. I'll to my brother, though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honor that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'll yield them up before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then Isabel live chaste, and brother die. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request and fit his mind to death for his soul's rest. Okay.
Now, that was great. That was really great. Should we? Yeah. I would say just as a pointer to doing this online, that you did it off camera, didn't you? You
Yes.
Yes. Particularly with this one, she's on her own.
Yeah.
And I think it's a time when the actor, the character is sort of asking the audience for help, and to share. She's using the audience as her sort of friend, and just saying, what should I do? So I thought it might be interesting for you to do that to camera, to engage. I mean, if you're thinking of this as a piece, that we'd get more of it, that if you actually engaged the watcher.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And there's I mean, your outrage at the beginning was fantastic, because she just doesn't know what to do, does she? But she sort of works out through the talking to the friend, like you do when you talk something through to somebody. You sort of work it out yourself, don't you? And there is a point where she's saying, who would believe me? I mean, God, what can I do? And she's almost asking the audience, And I mean, I know this is a very difficult medium, and it's a difficult time for us all. But in a way, these sort of things are quite, it's exciting because by the intimacy of this Zoom thing, you know, doing it straight to camera, it's very intense, and you are asking the listener and the watcher like person to person. And so, but she does come up with a possible solution, doesn't she? So that's, if you're thinking of, and I always think it's useful to sort of break a big speech down into sections, so that it's not just one thing, that there are lights and shades, and there's a progression. And so the beginning bit is sort of like, what should I do? And then she comes up with a solution, doesn't she? I'll to my brother. And from there, that sort of gives her a way out. And I think it would be interesting to see a change there. To, you know, I know he's been bad, but I know my brother, and I know if he had 20, and she's sort of almost convincing herself, isn't she?
Yeah.
If I had 20, if he had 20 heads on 20, but he'd yield them up before his sister should, you know, and then she knows that Isabel lived chaste and brother die. You know, that's sort of, she's sort of worked it out in that monologue. So there's a change again, isn't she? She's sort of resolved that that she will, the reason that she will go to her brother will be to fit his soul for death.
Yeah.
But would you like to try it again? But sort of try it. I've got no idea. Chuck, can you tell us what the time? Because I could go on forever with this.
Yeah, no, I'll keep an eye on the clock. I'll keep an eye on the clock. Yeah, so roughly we allow sort of between 15 and 20 minutes. There's definitely enough time to try it again and do another tweak, definitely.
Is that useful? Is it?
It would, yeah, it was very useful. Thank you. All right, cool.
And also, you know, just in terms of this medium, I mean, maybe it would be interesting, we could stop and start this time, but maybe it would be interesting to take the intimacy of it, you know, sort of saying, my God, to whom, what? You know.
Yeah. All right, cool. To whom should I complain? Did I tell this? Who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or a proof, bidding the law make curtsy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow as it draws. I'll to my brother. Though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honor that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'll yield them up before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then Isabel live chaste, and brother die. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request and fit his mind to death for his soul's rest.
Great. It's great. How did that feel?
It felt like it came from my natural self a lot more.
Yeah.
It felt a little more casual, which was kind of strange, but I think there are parts of that I could definitely use, you know?
I mean, I think the first thing, and also the other thing is, just doing, I know it's a monologue, but I mean, you have just been, I mean, Angela's just said,
Yeah.
I'm going to rape you, and otherwise your brother will die. You
Right.
know, and he says, "Who will believe thee, Isabel?" So that just do that first bit again. To whom should I complain? I mean, it is you sort of been knocked sideways, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a way of combining that passion that you got in the beginning when you did it first,
Mm-hmm.
and just try and think of somebody having said that to you and then leaving, and you're on your own, and you just don't know what to do.
Sure.
And there's one thing.
Can I throw something
Yes,
in on that? Also, Kali, I think you can really take your time to come to your decisions in this speech. I know normally with Shakespeare, tripping me on the tongue is true, but given what Deborah has just said about what he's just said,
Yeah.
what you expected of Angelo and what he said, I really do think you can take your time to, I mean, your decision, just speaking your decision naturally to yourself, you're going to ask your brother to die rather than have, so I think you can give yourself a bit more time to come to those decisions. And that fury, that anger, I think you don't underplay, it's there, but it has to come out in a different way. The anger that's shocked, then the anger that's scared, no one will believe me, and the anger that leads you to say, I'd rather my brother die than kill me. So I think you can give yourself a bit of time to really think of what you're saying. And those shifts Deborah mentioned, there are shifts there, like when she says, oh, my brother will do this because he's this, is this, it's,
yes. And
you know.
And when you're doing that, I think she's convincing herself as much as anybody, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want me to just take it from the top?
Yeah.
Sure. To whom should I complain? Did I tell this? Who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or of proof, bidding the law make curtsy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow.
Can I jump in 1 second?
Yeah.
What if this section wasn't about telling us that? What if it's about you realizing that's the world you live in? You know, so don't personalize this a lot where she's at, as Deborah used the word alone. So don't worry so much about telling us this or perilous mouth. Let it accept that this is the world you live in, because you have time to come out to us later when you say, I'll go to my brother. Do you see what I'm saying? So really realize the world a woman lives in, you specifically live in. Try that version, see if that helps you, gives you a bit of time and space around it, right?
Thank you, yeah. To whom should I complain? Did I tell this? Who would believe me? Oh, perilous mouths that bear in them one and the self-same tongue, either of condemnation or of proof, bidding the law make curtsy to their will, hooking both right and wrong to the appetite to follow as it draws. I'll to my brother. Though he hath fallen by prompture of the blood, yet hath he in him such a mind of honor that had he 20 heads to tender down on 20 bloody blocks, he'll yield them up before his sister should her body stoop to such abhorred pollution. Then Isabel lived chaste, and brother die. More than our brother is our chastity. I'll tell him yet of Angelo's request and fit his mind to death for his soul's rest.
Great. Really good.
Thank you.
Nice adjustments. I hope you found that helpful.
That was
And
very
you're working with, in Deborah, someone who knows that journey very much in the role she's played before. So lovely work, really lovely adjustment.
Great.
Thank
you. Really
good. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Carly. Emily.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Hi, I'm Emily. I'm in Minnesota quarantining, which is an intense place to be right now. But I'm happy to be here. And I'm doing a piece from When We Were Young and Unafraid by Sarah Treem.
Yeah, I don't know this one, so
okay.
Can you give me a sort of
do
you want to tell me where it's from, what's the story, or do you just want to do it? I don't know.
I can give you a little context. Yeah, the basic premise is this woman Agnes runs a home for women who are survivors of or in the midst of domestic violence in their home. And my character is Marianne, and she, this is at the very end of the play. She has a complicated relationship with Agnes, who's in charge. I think that gives you enough. Yeah.
Great.
Cool. I don't understand why you keep trying to punish me. I haven't done anything wrong. You need to stay upstairs, Marianne. You look like a ghoul. What are you calling? Why are you smoking, Marianne? What are you saying? What are you wearing? What are you thinking, Marianne? I know you think I'm stupid, that only stupid, weak girls get hit. But you've never loved anyone, so what do you know? I have loved him since we were 15. We were children together. And then he went to war and he came back differently. And all I was trying to do was understand him, understand that he's in pain and he's scared. And when he's scared, he gets angry. And when he's angry, leaving him is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I did it, and I'm never going back, but I still love him. I wish you could understand that. I'm going to have this baby, and I'm going to raise him in a safe house, and he's going to grow up strong and kind. He will love me, and I will love him, and he will be good, and I will be good, and that's all I want from life. I don't want to fight your fight. I don't even know what it is you're fighting for. I don't know why everything fell apart. I was trying so hard. I always try so hard.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thanks. My grandma just arrived, so that's what's in the background.
So she's in an abusive relationship, and is Agnes is the one who runs the
home. She's converted her house into sort of like a bed and breakfast, but I've been staying there for a while.
And what does Agnes want you to do?
She thinks I should give up my baby. Or she thinks I should have an abortion, really. And she thinks that I'm being kind of an idiot because I don't have a lot of money. And she thinks I'm going to just go back to this guy and have the baby with him. But I'm not. No. I'm not going to go back to him. I am going to have the baby.
Yes. Yeah. No, she's really defiant. I mean, I thought you did it brilliantly.
Oh, thank you.
I suppose as with all of these monologue, with these pieces, it's getting the light and shade and finding the difference, you know, things. And I mean, without knowing it, I would have thought that there's an element where joy comes in towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I felt that you could sort of relish the baby.
That I've made that decision.
At the end, that she is going to have this baby, and it's a positive thing, and it's a wonderful, positive, strong thing, and that's where that's where it's leading, isn't it?
There's hope.
There is hope, yes, but there's strength as well, you know. Mm-hmm. And I wondered, again, I don't know how useful this is, but I just think about, because of we're all struggling with this technical thing, whether the eye line, I mean, I think do you think that, Chuck, the eye line?
I think in general, especially with such intimate things, give us your eyes, give us your, you know,
yes,
for these purposes, you know. Yes. And I think it will, as that was interesting, because people are using this medium more, but I think it's, in general, even if it were on stage, that thing of actually, like, picture who you're speaking to really helps not dissipate the energy, you know, Emily. So, and I would also say one thing to add on to Deborah is, you know, when you know a speech, you sort of know how it arcs and ebbs.
Sure.
Cerebrally, you know what I mean? And it happened when you knew you were building up to saying he would hit you when he gets angry. You were doing it in a slightly technical, doing it in a slightly technical way. He comes back from the war and he's usually nice, but sometimes you get it, and you sort of built to it technically because you knew where it was going. You built to those ellipses, right? Yeah. So just try and really be in the stories, a bit like what we were saying to Carly about being in the images and the story. Don't worry about the build. Don't worry about the climax. You know, just explain it, because even the way you started the speech, you had a little tremble in your voice already, which is sort of signaling the emotion. Just talk to her and be in the scene. Yeah, you know. And I think, but as Deborah said, use her. Agnes is right there in front of you. Yeah, and those ebbs and flows will come. Sorry, Deborah.
Also, I think it's always vital with these speeches things to know what's just come before. No, is it a response? Because I for this one I don't know the text.
Yeah, she's been yelling at me. She's been pretty nasty. So I think I can have a bit more muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
or maybe not. I mean, but that's interesting, because, you know, when somebody's been shouting at you, the way you respond, you could either shout back or you could just go very quiet, you know, just. But it's interesting, but I think it's essential to know why you're saying this thing. It's always a response to something, isn't it?
Okay. I don't understand why you keep trying to punish me. I haven't done anything wrong. You need to stay upstairs, Marianne. You look like a ghoul, Marianne. Why are you smoking, Marianne? Who are you calling, Marianne? What are you saying? What are you wearing? What are you thinking, Marianne? I know you think I'm stupid, that only stupid, weak girls get hit. But you've never loved anyone, so what do you know? I have loved him since we were 15. We were children together. Then he went to war and he came back differently. And all I was trying to do was stand by him understand that he's in pain and he's scared. And when he's scared, he gets angry. And when he's angry, he leaving him is the hardest thing I have ever had to do. I did it, and I'm never going back. But I still love him. And I wish you could understand that. I'm going to have this baby. And I'm going to raise him in a safe house. And he's going to grow up strong and kind. He will love me, and I will love him. And he will be good, and I will be good. And that is all I want from life. I don't want to fight your fight. I don't even know what it is you're fighting for. I don't know why everything fell apart. I was trying so hard. I always try so hard.
Yeah. What I saw what I heard this time around was that she comes out much stronger than Agnes, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And she actually uses, it felt to me like she was saying, I don't know if it's true, it felt to me like she was saying, Agnes, you don't know, you've never experienced what I have experienced, and that's a very, you know, quite a high status thing to, in a funny sort of way, although she feels she starts off very low status, she's very under Agnes's foot or whatever. She is saying, actually, I know something you don't. And the whole thing about love comes up, that the refrain of love comes up quite a lot in that speech, doesn't it? And I felt you could sort of put a more power or more weight into love. This is something I have experienced, and I'm having a baby because of this. And it's something you don't know, and I'm not fighting your battles. You can have your battles. This is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what Deborah's saying is like, I think you should push each of the choices you made further.
Okay.
You know, so when however you lash back, whether you do it softly by being super calm because she's being really, whether you shout back, it's your choice. It doesn't matter. It's your choice. But I think,
or you could try both.
Both,
you could try both, couldn't you? And we could stop you this time.
Yeah. And also, one thing I'll say, Emily, is that you have these so many transitions in this speech. You know, you say, I don't know why you did, you say this, you say, Emily, go upstairs, Emily, this, and then suddenly you have I was 15 when I fell in love. Don't rush those transitions. I know it's in your head, it's a speed. You've got to visualize why do you suddenly go to that? And then the last one, after you said all this stuff about the baby, you go back to the relationship of, I don't know why it fell apart. Right? Yeah. You're talking about your relationship with,
that has
why
to
you're
come
married.
From something. I mean,
that's weird because you've got on this track of baby, mom, beautiful image, and I don't know, you're fucked, you don't know love, I know it. And then you go back to, but I don't know why it fell apart. So really make sure you give yourself those turns and see what they do to you. Don't just we're not in a hurry. Deborah will stop you. Just really, just let those things drop in before you start speaking, yeah? And Deborah, you can stop her whenever you want, and over to you. Yeah.
Okay. Oh. I don't understand why you keep trying to punish me. I haven't done anything wrong. You need to stay upstairs, Marianne. You look like a ghoul, Marianne. Who are you calling, Marianne?
Can I just stop you there? Yeah. Maybe this time you could just a sort of act Agnes's Because you're saying what Agnes.
Oh, like
said to
be
you.
her when I say it. Yeah,
Yeah,
quoting
yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand why you keep trying to punish me. I haven't done anything wrong. You need to stay upstairs, Marianne. You look like a ghoul, Marianne. Who are you calling, Marianne? Why are you smoking, Marianne? What are you saying? What are you wearing? What are you thinking, Marianne? I know you think I'm stupid, that only stupid, weak girls get hit. But you've never loved anyone. So what do you know? I have left.
So that's the point, isn't it?
And that should be the end of it.
She knows. You're saying, I know you think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But you have never loved anyone. That's the love. That's where the love comes in, isn't it?
Yeah. I know you think I'm stupid.
And also, Emily,
Mhm.
and Emily, this speech could stop in so many places. Like Deborah said,
I have to remember.
like Deborah says, you've never loved anyone. End of story.
Yeah.
And you stay to say more. Why?
Great.
And then you stay to say, well, I was 15 when I met him. Why? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't assume the speech is already,
That's
right?
on.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Okay. I know you think I'm stupid, that only stupid, weak girls get hit, but you've never loved anyone. So what do you know? I have loved him since I was 15. We were children together. Then he went to war and he came back differently. So all I was trying to do was stand by him and understand that he's in pain and he's scared. And when he's scared, he gets angry. And when he's angry, leaving him is the hardest thing that I have ever had to do. I did it, and I'm never going back, but I still love him.
Yes. No, you froze just then for me.
Oh,
No, it's terrible. Just from I think, as Chuck says, that's another that's another shift, isn't it?
Mhm.
I love him, and then you're explaining why you love him. You're not mad. You grew up together, and
Oh, yeah.
I think you could invest. You could just invest the story of your relationship. I don't know if it's done in other, in the rest of the day, but just for this, you could explain to us that it wasn't a crazy relationship. You didn't fall in love with an abuser. You fell in love with this lovely man who went away to war, had terrible time there, and needs taking care of.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Why don't you go from Agnes is taking what she says about you.
Oh, sure. You need to stay upstairs, Marianne. You look like a ghoul, Marianne. Who are you calling, Marianne? Why are you smoking, Marianne? What are you saying? What are you wearing? What are you thinking, Marianne? I know you think I'm stupid, that only stupid, weak girls get hit. But you've never loved anyone. So what do you know? I've loved him since I was 15. We were children together. Then he went to war and he came back differently. And all I was trying to do was stand by him and understand that he's in pain and he's scared. And when he's scared, he gets angry. And when he's angry, he leaving him is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I did it, and I'm never going back, but I still love him. I wish you could understand that. I'm I'm going to have this baby, and I'm going to raise him in a safe house. And he's going to grow up strong and kind. He will love me, and I will love him, and he will be good, and I will be good. And that is all I want from life. I don't want to fight your fight. I don't even know what it is you're fighting for. I don't know why everything fell apart. I was trying so hard. I always try so hard.
That was great.
Thank you.
That
That's
was
so
really,
helpful.
really great. It was
Really?
very, very good. Very moving.
Thank you. So helpful. Thank you both.
It's a lot, Deborah. Something that just to point of what Deborah was doing with you is just so, Emily, think of always playing the person. Don't worry about the
I get so
scene or the performance. Do you know what I mean? It's just such a gift. All those shifts in that woman, that's what Deborah was pushing you for. Is those really shifts about someone who's in love and you were in love once, and there are all these mini stories within that speech that you can just experience instead of flying through it and hitting all the points. Does that make sense? And that really came out. Yeah. Lovely. Lovely work. All right.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Jenna.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Jenna. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Very good. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I'm going to stay out of the way. It seems rather weird giving you notes at this stage, but I'll leave Deborah to take care of you. Jenna was one of my students at the Atlantic for a semester.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we're throwing it back because I'm going to do some Shakespeare too. I have Imogen from Cymbeline.
Ah. No, that's interesting because it made me read it.
Yeah?
A very strange play, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is. It really is.
And are you going Why I Must Die?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And it went in. Oh. Yes. Whenever you like.
Yeah. Why I must die, and if I do not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy masters. Against self-slaughter, there is a prohibition so divine that cravens my weak hand. Come, here's my heart. Some things afore it, soft will no defense. Obedient as the scabbard, what is here? The scriptures of the loyal Leonatus all turn to heresy. Away, away, corrupters of my faith, you shall no more be stomachers to my heart. Thus may poor fools believe false teachers, though those that are betrayed do feel the treason sharply. Yet the traitor stands in worse case of woe. And thou, Posthumus, that didst set up my disobedience against the king my father, and make me put into contempt the suits of princely fellows, shalt hereafter find it is no act of common passage, but a strain of rareness. And I grieve myself to think, when thou shalt be disedged by her that now thou tirest on, how thy memory will then be panged by me. Prithee, dispatch. The lamb entreats the butcher. Where's thy knife? Thou art too slow to do thy master's bidding when I desire it too.
Mm. Great. Strange speech, isn't it? It's just a weird. Again, I'd say think about what you're saying, what you're responding to.
Yeah.
So that so what is it? What has she been told?
Basically, the servant of her husband has come to her and has given her a letter that her husband has given the servant to come kill her because she has committed adultery. And the scene that's taking place is she's saying, kill me, and the servant is saying no. And it's their back and forth.
Yeah. So so she's already asked him, hasn't she?
Yes. And he's already said no.
Do his bidding, strike. Thou mayst be valiant in a better cause, but now thou seemst to come. And he says, no, hence, I'm not going to. Thou shalt not damn my hand.
Right.
So I just think the very, very first thing you say is, well, for a kickoff, I think it's the end of his sentence.
It is, yes.
So, in terms of the verse meter, the thing, so that he says, "Thou shalt not damn my hand," and then she says, "Why I must die." So that's that sort of, and I think with Shakespeare, I think it's good to use the text to help as I said before, the text helps you. It gives you clues on how to say it. And I think "why I must die," they're almost each of those words are stressed. And you could, I was just thinking, you could stress must or die. And it's almost, to me, it sort of feels like there's almost a sort of a sort of gallows humor to it. Do you understand what I mean? I mean,
think so.
saying
Yeah.
this is so crazy that I am now in a situation where where this man who is my husband has sent to kill me is saying he doesn't want to do it, and she's saying, "Well, I can't, okay, well, I'll do it then, but I can't do it because it's a sin to commit, commit suicide." So,
right.
But so I just think there's you could think of a sort of I don't know what it is. You would have to make the choice, but to sort of as I say, if there's a sort of an awful irony, well, it's irony, isn't it?
Sure.
Sort of an awful irony, or well, I must die. He said, his letter has said, I must die, and however you say it, I think it's got to be said. I don't know what if you and if I do not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy masters. And it's a sort of, she's taking the ridiculousness of the situation. I mean, it's awful. Obviously, she's very frightened, and it's appalled that this husband, who she's given up so much, hasn't she?
Yes.
And again, if you look at the text, it's quite fractured. And I think we could go through the lines. So she says, "Come." come, here's my heart, and then what happens?
In terms of plot or in terms of script?
No, yes, in terms of the script. She says,
something's afore it.
yeah.
Soft will no defense, obedient as the scabbard.
So it's almost like what's she doing? She's sort of saying, oh, come.
Yeah, she's offering it to him, huh?
Yeah, and then she finds the letters, doesn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. So what is here? Is it that's another, but she doesn't know that the letters are there, does she?
Right. She doesn't remember.
Yeah. So it's all sort of it's all fractured. Should we start again?
Yes, please.
Yeah. And I'll stop you.
Sorry, I said I wouldn't say anything, but Jenna, really launch yourself into it. Really, you're thinking really hard about it. And like Deborah said, we always talked about how do you start? How do you start the speech? I mean, take all the things that have happened. Take all where she's at. This guy's coming to kill on behalf of our husband. Actually, just take all that in and throw yourself into it. Don't think yourself through it. Take all yourself and then launch and see where it takes you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Why, I must die. And if I do not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy
Don't be
master.
scared with why I must die. Be ridiculous. Follow your, do a choice you think might be too much and too wrong, but embrace that monosyllabic statement. Don't be, I mean, say it, mean it. Do you know what I mean? It's all right. We can fall flat on our faces here. We're working, okay? Try it before you knock it.
Can I say the previous line? Would that help?
Sure. Yes, that would be very helpful.
Right. I'll say. Hence, vile instrument, thou shalt not damn my hand.
Why, I must die. And if I do not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy masters. Against self-slaughter there is a prohibition so divine that cravens my weak hand. Come, here's my heart. Some things afore it, soft will no defense. Obedient as the scabbard, what is here? The scriptures of the loyal Leonatus. All turn to heresy. Away, corrupters of my faith, you shall no more be stomachers to my heart. Thus may poor fools believe false teachers, though those that are betrayed do feel the treason sharply. Yet the traitor stands in worst case of woe. And thou, Posthumus, that didst set up my disobedience against the king my father, and make me put into contempt the suits of princely fellows, shalt hereafter find. It is no act of common passage, but a strain of rareness. And I grieve myself to think, when thou shalt be disedged by her that now thou tirest on, how thy memory will then be panged by me. Prithee dispatch. The lamb entreats the butcher. Where's thy knife? Thou art too slow to do thy master's bidding when I desire it to.
Good. And there's I mean, she does change. Again, there's lots of changes. To start off with, she's begging him to kill her, isn't she?
Yes.
Sort of the whole thing is very extreme, that situation.
Yes.
And when she comes on Leonatus's letters, Leonatus is he posthumous?
Yes.
Yes. Confusing.
I know.
So that sort of takes her by surprise, doesn't it? Really,
It does.
And it was great that you threw them away. Yeah, that's great. And in a way, what do you think? What do you think her attitude to Posthumus is towards the end?
I think that she feels very hurt and betrayed, but at the same time, she still will love him forever.
Yeah. Because she's actually saying she gave up everything for him, didn't she? And he didn't really understand how much she has done for him.
Yes.
I think what you should be sort of aware of is going to the ends of the words.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
Sure.
you drop the I can't remember where it was, but you don't give the words their full value.
Mm-hmm.
Like and be like, you shall no more be stomachers to my heart.
Okay.
Anyway, just do it again. Do it again.
Okay.
I'm going to stop you this time.
Jenna, ecstatically, just for the experiment to help launch you into it, don't underplay Why I Must Die. Just try.
Yeah.
Try laughing it out, like bring it on, and just see where that takes you. Just, you know where you were at when you took off your coat. Imagine starting Why I Must Die with that, okay?
Okay.
And just before you start, because we discovered, and I know Deborah will know this exercise, can you just say with full voice, do you have the speech in front of you?
Yes.
Can you just say with full voice the last words of every line in that speech, just with full voice, whatever, and then launch into it, right?
Yes. Die, art, slaughter, divine, heart, defense, here, Leonatus, away, more, fools, betrayed, traitor, posthumous, king, suits, find, but, myself, her, memory, dispatch, knife, bidding, to. Why I must die, and if I do not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy masters. Against self-slaughter there is a prohibition so divine that cravens my weak hand. Come, here is my heart. Something's afore it. Soft will no defense, obedient as the scabbard. What is here? The scriptures of the loyal Leonatus all turn to heresy. Away, away. Corrupters of my faith, you shall no more be stomachers to my heart. Thus may poor fools believe false teachers, though those that are betrayed do feel the treason sharply, yet the traitor stands in worse case of woe. And thou, Posthumus, that didst set up my disobedience against the king my father, and make me put into contempt the suits of princely fellows, shalt hereafter find. It is no act of common passage, but a strain of rareness. And I grieve myself to think, when thou shalt be disedged by her that now thou tirest on, how thy memory will then be panged by me. Prithee, dispatch. The lamb entreats the butcher. Where's thy knife? Thou art too slow to do thy master's bidding when I desire it to.
Great. It's great when all those words were coming out really well. You know, just really enjoying them, and I think there's a sadness, isn't there? There's a sadness with what she feels about Posthumus. She's so wronged by this man.
Yes.
And yet she's saying she will be grieved. She will be grieved when he realizes what he's done and that she is innocent.
Yes.
He's so sorry. And then it changes, doesn't it? It's like all of these things. It changes on a sixpence sometimes.
Yes.
And maybe at the end, that last little bit, she's saying, come on. No, the lamb entreats the butcher, come on. Maybe, have we got time just to do a little bit?
That little end, and then we'll move on.
Yes.
Yes.
So just go from "and thou, Posthumus," and just think about, it's almost more in sorrow than in anger.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's sort of like almost she can't bear to think of him and how it will affect him. So then she just changes on that line, in mid-line, and just, come on, get on with it, come on. Enough. Try that. So just go from "and thou, Posthumus."
And thou, Posthumus, that didst set up my disobedience against the king, my father, and make me put into contempt the suits of princely fellows, shalt hereafter find. It is no act of common passage, but a strain of rareness. And I grieve myself to think, when thou shalt be disedged by her that now thou tirest on, how thy memory will then be panged by me. Prithee, dispatch. The lamb entreats the butcher. Where's thy knife? Thou art too slow to do thy master's bidding when I desire it to.
Great.
Lovely, Jenna.
Yeah. Did that feel good?
It did. It did. Thank you.
Really strong work.
Great.
Thank
Lovely.
you so much for sharing that. I don't know Cymbeline. It's a play I don't know, but every time people work on it, I just go, this is the most complicated.
It's
the
very
thoughts in this.
complicated.
I just can't. I was like, I need to go sit and really read it, because none of the speeches are straightforward in it. It's quite extraordinary. So thanks for giving us another symbol in there, Jenna. Next is Kelly, a bit of Tennessee Williams.
Ah,
Hi,
Hello.
hello.
I'm Kelly Crossley. I'm in Los Angeles right now, and I'm doing Sweet Bird of Youth. I'll be reading Heavenly's monologue.
Fantastic.
Do you need me to give you Have you read?
Well, I know I've seen the play and I watched the film, but the film's very, very different, isn't it?
Yeah, the ending's different. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because it's a happy ending-ish, but it's not in the play, is it? But
No.
but I know this sort of story. I know
Okay.
who she is. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm just gonna give myself like a second before I start.
Yeah.
Don't give me your voice of God speech, Papa. There was a time when you could have saved me by letting me marry a boy that was still young and still clean. But instead, you drove him away. You took him out of St. Cloud. And when he came back, you took me away and you tried to force me to marry a 50-year-old money bag that you could get something out of. And another, all of them that you could get something out of. And I had gone. So Chance went away and he tried to compete, trying to be as big as these big shots that you had a bond with me. He tried. And the right doors didn't open, so he went in the wrong ones. Papa, you married for love. So why didn't you let me do it? While I was still alive inside and had a boy that was clean and decent. You married for love, but you wouldn't let me do it. And you did it, and you still broke Mama's heart. Miss Julie was she was your mistress before Mama died. Mama was just in front for it. Can I go now, Papa? Can I go in now? That's it.
Right. Very good. I wanted it to go on. That was fantastic. God, it's a fabulous speech, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's from somebody who is again. She's somebody who is under his thumb, isn't she?
Yes.
Totally. But this is her moment of calling him out and strength, isn't it?
Forcing him to listen and speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a sort of I suppose it's a combination of finding that the strength of a frightened person, I suppose, isn't it, or somebody who has lived all her life under his foot, and this is her moment to confront him, and I think it's sort of getting that balance between. I mean, you had her hesitancy and her. You could feel the where she was coming from brilliantly, and I think it would be interesting to play around with that thing of her sort of taking a breath and calling him out.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And to
More towards the end, or you think like a little bit by
Well,
little?
yeah, little by little.
Mhm.
And again, it seems this is the running theme of the afternoon or the morning or whenever it is for you. But that what she is saying is that you loved Chance
Still do, yeah.
and still do, and
Yeah.
love is very important. And so don't don't slide over that word in a way. And he married for love, didn't he? He says, and
Yeah.
it's the hypocrite thing. Do it again, and this time I'll sort of call you out. I'll stop you if
Okay.
it. But it's lovely. It's lovely.
Thank you. Okay. Don't give me your voice of God speech, Papa. There was a time when you could have saved me by letting me marry a boy that was still young and clean.
Now, there were. So you're saying, don't do this anymore, aren't you? Don't do this, whatever you do, all the time. And there was a time when you could have saved me. And the whole thing is because she's been infected by Chance, hasn't she? She's got a sexual disease.
She just had a hysterectomy. I can't say.
Hysterectomy,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Well, but because
Of the transmitted disease, yeah.
Yeah. So the clean, and it's all to, and she is made. He wants to put her in white, doesn't he? Her father. So the clean, that clean is it's a sort of a horror. It's a phrase that is drummed into her and is horrible. That she's sort of put on a pedestal as something clean, and she doesn't feel it. But it was at one point, it would have been clean, this lovely relationship she had with this boy who wanted to do the best by her. So, do it again.
Okay. Don't give me your voice of God speech, Papa. There was a time when you could have saved me by letting me marry a boy that was still young and clean. But instead, you drove him away. Drove him out of St. Cloud. And then when he came back, you took me out of St. Cloud and tried to force me to marry a 50-year-old money bag that you could get something out of. And another, all of them ones that you could get something out of. So while I was gone, Chance went away and he tried to compete. Tried to be as big as these big shots that you made me a bond with. And he went and he tried. And the right doors wouldn't open. So he went in the wrong ones. Papa, you married for love. So then why didn't you why can't I do it? While I was still alive inside, while I was still clean, while I had a boy that was clean and decent. You married for love, but I couldn't do it. And even though you did, you still broke Mama's heart. Miss Julie, she was your mistress before Mama died. Mama was just in fret for it. Can I go inside now, Papa? Can I go inside?
That's great. That was fantastic.
And so surprising. I mean, I didn't see where that laugh was coming from, but
No.
that's sort of what we've been talking about, Deborah, this whole series. And people have been coming on and talking about letting go and seeing where being in the moment can take you, and the sort of surprises that can surprise you and certainly surprise whoever's watching. I didn't see that coming a mile away. That was just so lived in and felt, Kelly. That was stunning.
I didn't see it coming either.
Did it surprise you that you went that you laughed there? Did it surprise you also, Kelly? That
Oh,
it,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
That's
yeah.
But I think the thing between laughter and tears is, and all our emotions is so they intercross, don't they? They cross over. So.
Yeah, thank you for that, the direction you gave me, and it very much helped, especially with those words, clean, and I totally stepped over that. And
Yes.
it is such a delicate line. Because she still kind of gets walked over a little, like she doesn't have the power back, but this love conversation, this is important to her. So,
but there's a bit, just I don't know how much time we've got left, but there's a bit where she says, I didn't want to stop you because it was so fantastic, but there was a bit where she says towards the end, I'm not, isn't she, or he's not, he's, you know, we're not clean anymore, or what was it?
when I could have been with someone that was clean and decent at the end. While I was alive inside.
Yes, while I was alive inside. That's such a, you know, and don't run over that.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of heartbreaking. That she's saying she's dead, isn't she? She's while I was alive inside. Oh my God. I mean, just saying that, it says so much, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, I know you could keep going, Deborah, but I think Kelly really, you know, you found something really delicious, Kelly. Just so I kind of want to leave it there with that, what you found there and all that. But it's a great speech for you. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. So let's jump to Malin, if that's okay. Another Hamlet.
Yes, another Hamlet. Hey, how are you? My name is Malin, and I am in New York, and I will be doing Hamlet from Hamlet.
And which one will you be
doing? The to be or not to be. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we end the heartache and the natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream, aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought. And enterprises of great pith and moment, with this regard the currents turn awry, and lose the name of action.
Great. Such a wonderful speech, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
The thing is, what with all these things, these amazing, very well-known things, I think it's always useful to go back to think of it in context.
Mm-hmm.
In what, and I mean, it's not a reply to anybody. It's him on his own, but it's him. What's he doing there? What's he doing in that time?
I think he's figuring it out for himself. I think he's contemplating these two choices, right? To be or not to be. And then he's making the judgments for each one, right? Like,
so I think in that respect, I mean, that's what I think as well. But I think in that respect, you can pose yourself the question. I mean, that it's such a brilliant speech. It's so brilliantly constructed.
Yeah.
But so you posit the argument right at the beginning. So the first thing is to be or not to be. However you do it, right. That is the question. And first of all, he or she comes down on the side of death, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The speech. That it's, why on earth would we live under such strain when we could just have a lovely time asleep? And then I think what's interesting is to take your time,
right?
To sleep. Yeah, that's great. And then, I mean, if you look at the line, it's to die, to sleep, no more. And it's great. He's going, it's great. It's a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep. And then the next line, so to die, to sleep is the end of the line. And then to sleep, that's the rub, isn't it? To sleep, a chance to dream. And then that's when it changes, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think you can give yourself time to go on that journey.
Okay.
And work it out for yourself, and then Shakespeare sort of develops that theme of, well, dreams, of course. We don't know where we're going. We sleep, we kill ourselves, and we think we're going to have a nice time sleeping, but we don't know, do we? Because if we did know, if it was just a sleep, we'd all kill ourselves off with a bare bodkin, and And then that's why he comes down on finally thinking, well, I've got to carry on in this life. But I think what I'm saying is that you can take your time to go into all the arguments.
Okay.
So,
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Take it from the top.
Yes.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
And I think when you're doing it, I think it's somebody, I would say, it's somebody who has actually contemplated suicide.
Right.
I mean, he has, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
He says before, oh, that this too solid flesh would dissolve. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He says that. So, and he's very. You do feel that he's somebody who could easily, or she, sorry, could easily kill themselves. So I think just try it, that it is an actual possibility that she is actually contemplating doing one or the other.
Okay. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, no more.
I'm going to sort of come in and stop.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So that was great. That was really good. It felt like you were really contemplating that thing. And is she saying why is it better? Is it better to suffer, to be sort of this martyr to all our stuff, or is it stronger and it's more courageous to stop all this stuff by killing yourself? Well, maybe that's a good suggestion, you know. Right. So convince yourself of that argument.
Okay.
Start again.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by sleep to say we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub.
Yes, now that's terrific, Malin. That was fantastic. But I think you can really, in a way, you can sort of catch yourself, that to sleep. Oh God, I hadn't thought of that. The chance to dream. It's sort of you're taking on that next part, aren't you?
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
A little. Let me try it.
Yeah.
Basically, you could have. I think what Deborah is saying is, and by what to get that's not in my source. By what I end them to die, to sleep, no more. Right? That could be the end of it. And then you go, wait a second. But you see, that sleep is the problem.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
reach the conclusion, I'm gonna die. Yes. I mean, why live? I'm gonna sleep. And then you go to sleep, and literally the word sleep or the image of sleep makes you go, oh, hold on a second. You see, that's the problem.
Right. Okay.
That's the catch she means. It's not one long flowing thing. You're saying
Right,
something.
right.
And then,
Yeah. And then catch it. Okay. I got
Yeah.
it. I got it. Okay. Okay. So to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time? The proud man, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself his quietus make, with a bare bodkin. Who would these fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus conscience makes cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
Good, great. You look.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
That felt different.
Yeah. It's and I think there's I always feel that there's a feeling of she would love to be able to sleep. You know, that thing of, oh God, please just let me sleep, just let me, you know, she doesn't want to be confronted with all this, the problem of, well, the problem of his father's death and his mother's marriage, and you know, and
Right.
that feeling of, oh God, just let me sleep, just let me get out of this. But you can't do it. And I think it's interesting, isn't it, that after sort of realizing why people don't kill themselves,
Yeah.
he then goes on to more you know, more descriptions of things in life that are almost unsupportable.
Yeah.
Almost
Insufferable.
unsupportable.
Yeah.
And it's, I suppose it's just he is, like, once again, he's sort of he's letting his mind roam and making just making arguments for inaction, actually, isn't
Right.
it? I mean, I hadn't seen that before. I hadn't heard that before. So
Right.
thank you. That actually what this amazing speech comes down to is saying everything that thus conscience does make cowards of us all.
Right.
And
right. I think it's also like well, I don't know. I felt like that line of about thus conscience does make cowards of us all, that overthinking, because he starts with whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer, right? And he's working through this in his mind, and the whole play is about his inability to really like kind of step up to revenge his father. And it's sort of like, I think that's a moment of like, you know, like here I am overthinking everything and kind of, you know, not being able to take action for what I really should be taking action for.
Yes, I can't even kill myself.
I can't kill myself. I can't kill Claudius. I can't do anything.
What if you tried not... The problem with a speech like this, when you know it so well, is you know where he ends up, Malin. And I was just wondering if you could really just, I'm not saying about going slower, but really just think of the stages of the speech. It could have ended to be or not to be. Then that is the question. And he says, this is what this will be. But then I don't know what death would do. And then he's suddenly very angry at what we have to put up with in this world. So there's all these really
moments.
And there's no way this is a prepared speech. This is him going through it. And then he goes, okay, you're telling me not to die because I'm scared of the undiscovered country from which, but you know, this is the world we live in. Who would fathers bear? You know, the proud man's country, the pangs of despised love, the laws delay, even the law delay, you know. I can't trust this fucked up world. But the whole point is, I don't know what happens after death.
Right.
The undiscovered country from whose, you know, no traveler returns. Puzzles the way, and you know what, because of this fear of it, I start to think, because I've overthought it, this is cowards, and not just me, but he says all of us. Do you know what I mean? So it's not just me. Does conscience does make cowards of us all, and all these wonderful things we thought of glorious to take a stand and to go out and riot for you know, Floyd that has been murdered. I'm too scared to do that.
Right.
And then I just sit here. So I want you to get out of your head with the and just experience the different stages of it. Even if you have to take little breaks before to know what the next stage is. Just let us see your mind, see what you're going to next. Do you know what I mean? Yeah?
Okay.
And really open up your emotions to the whole thing.
Yeah.
This is what we put up in this world, but you know, and just see where that takes you for shits and giggles.
Okay. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say, we end the heartache and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, to sleep. Perchance to dream, aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. Who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurn, that patient merit of the unworthy takes. When he himself might his quietest make with a bare bodkin, who would these fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. This conscience thus makes cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment. With this regard, the currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
It's a lot of navigation it needs.
Yeah,
You see,
it's a
Malin,
lot
did you
of
see
twists and turns.
all the stage?
And
Because
it's
it's become
like-
such an intellectualized speech.
Yeah,
When he's actually living it, it's no different from the Tennessee Williams we saw, the whatever. It's living it in the moment. And you have to allow yourself, when you go forward with this, to feel his frustration, his resolution, then not resolution, then frustration, then anger, then acceptance. All those things happen. Yeah. And I think that's what Deborah was like, you know, just making you ask those questions.
No, thank you.
You know?
Yeah. No, that thank you. That was amazing notes. Thank you.
It's terrific. Really good.
You don't pick the easy ones, guys, do you? Okay,
no, I mean, it was challenging, right? Like, that's the whole point.
I know. It's one of the great. It will always be one of the great experiences of my life playing that character. So I always understand why people. It's the greatest role I've ever played, and I think the greatest role written. So I get it, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you like to play it, Malin?
It's
Sorry?
Rebecca.
Would you like to play it? Have you?
I do actually. Yes, I've seen a couple of like kind of male to female kind of cross over. So it would be such an honor, and I would love to. So I always play around with it.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for all your, you know.
Thank you for being so brave and actually navigating it with us. So next, move it, Rebecca.
Hi.
Hey, Becky Boo, how are you doing?
Good to see you, Chuck.
Good to see you. Rebecca and I, this is weird because Rebecca and I went to drama school together many years ago, even though she still looks 18. It's crazy. All right, over to you.
Yeah, good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So I've got Constance from King John. And I've pieced together a bit, so it's not an actual full monologue in the script, but from Act 3, Scene 4.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. No, I defy all counsel, all redress, but that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death. Death. Oh, amiable, lovely death, arise forth from the couch of lasting night, and I will kiss thy detestable bones, and put my eyeballs in thy vaulty brows, and stop this gap of breath with fulsome dust, and be a carrion monster like thyself. Come, grin on me, and I will think thou smilest and bust thee as thy wife. Oh, misery's love, come to me. Thou art not wholly to belie me so. I am not mad. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were, for then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized cardinal. For be not mad, but sensible in grief. My reasonable part delivers reason how I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. If I were mad, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouts were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Ooh. That was brilliant. Yes. Well, you've got her emotion, and you've got her strength, which is, I think, is wonderful. I mean, I suppose what right at the beginning, what is she doing? Because she's with other people, isn't she? She's with the king.
Yeah, she's just entered the French tent.
Yes.
So she's just entered.
What do you think she's doing with that? She's with the thing about death, sort of sort of like she conjures up death, doesn't she?
Yeah.
What is she? But is that to frighten the other people, or what is she doing with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the whole scene, she
But
talks about it the whole time.
Yeah, but I tell you why. Because I think there's whatever she's doing in that one. I think the next one, she's saying, "I am not mad," and I think there's a. I think when you go into "I am not mad, this hair I tear is mine," it's all monosyllables. All the words, they're very curt and they're all words of one syllable, aren't they? Nearly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she's sort of saying to herself, but she is saying, "I am not mad," and it's grief. I am feeling grief, but and I'm quite. I am. It's right that I should feel grief at the death of my son, but I am not mad. So I think there might be a difference between the first bit, where she is sort of almost. I don't know what
she is mad. You think she is then mad, or she's trying to?
I don't think she is mad. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all. She's, definitely not Ophelia.
No. But it's. What do you? It's interesting. I mean, I don't have the answer, but it's interesting what she is doing in that first part of summoning up death.
Yeah.
Is it to shame them? I mean, I suppose what you've got to do is you've got to decide what you are doing to the assembled company.
I think that it's probably to punish them, because she believes John is responsible for her son's disappearance. And so I'm assuming that he is dead, although I don't know. So I think part of it is anger at them and at the King Philip for betraying her. So it's anger and making them feel punished for her son's disappearance and all of this death in her life, because now she feels like she's really got nothing and that it's their fault. And now she feels like, you know, that's her fate as well. And blaming them for that. But yeah.
Do you think she knows Arthur is dead? Her son is dead?
I think she has to assume that he is.
Yes. So
I don't think she would.
No.
I don't think she would commit suicide if she thought he was alive. I think she assumes that he's been murdered. And then and then now that King Philip has gone against her, she really has no hope. You know, him being heir to the throne is gone, and she's got nothing anymore. But I don't know. It is a hard bit in the beginning with the death. It's quite.
Well, yeah, it's fantastic. So she comes on, doesn't she?
I guess I sort of thought it like like a Lady Macbeth moment, that she is conjuring it, but maybe she's just experiencing it and dwelling in it. And
actually, what she is saying is, see the issue of your peace. So and that is death.
Yeah.
So she's sort of, there's almost like a fronting it out, isn't there? There's a defiance. Yeah, she's punishing them. So I think should we try it again?
Okay.
And they're saying, comfort. No, come on, you know, calm down and comfort, lady, comfort. And she's not having any of it, is she?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely completely different lines. You know, right before this, it's King Philip, patience, good lady, comfort, gentle Constance. Yes. And then after that, it's the cardinal, lady, you utter madness and not sorrow. And then she switches.
Yes.
Okay, should I do it again?
Yes, do.
Okay.
And I might stop you this time.
Okay. Yeah. No, I defy all counsel, all redress, but that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death. Oh, amiable, lovely death, arise forth from the couch of lasting night, and I will kiss thy detestable bones. And
can I just stop you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Just when you say death, that was lovely. Oh, but don't swallow, oh, amiable, lovely death. Don't swallow those things.
Okay.
And just be aware of the, just relish the words.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was great.
Okay.
And also, Rebecca, is the antithesis of amiable, lovely death. She's deliberately talking about it like a lover, and then she drops the word death. So, like Deborah says, enjoy that, you know? She's messing with them a bit, you know? Yeah.
Okay. No, I defy all counsel, all redress, but that which ends all counsel, true redress. Death. Oh, amiable, lovely death, arise forth from the couch of lasting night, and I will kiss thy detestable bones, and put my eyeballs in thy vaulty brows, and stop this gap of breath with fulsome dust, and be a carrion monster like thyself. Come, grin on me, and I will think thou smilest and bust thee as thy wife. Oh, misery's love, come to me. Thou art not wholly to belie me so. I am not mad. My name is Constance. This hair I tear is mine. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were, for then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, Cardinal. For be not mad, but sensible in grief. My reasonable part delivers reason how I may be delivered of these woes, and teaches me to kill or hang myself. I am not mad. If I were, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouts were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Great.
Was that different?
Yes, it was. It's so exciting. What I would say, I don't know how much, because we could do this forever, couldn't we? But what I would say is, just try that I am not the first when you say I am not mad.
Okay.
Just try it being steelier. Do you know what I mean? And not because you wonderful when you were saying I am not mad. Please God, let me not be mad. I am not mad because I sort of want to be right at the end. It was wonderful. But the first bit, it would be interesting to try it much more controlled, if you see what I mean.
Okay.
To sort of to convince people, to convince them, because he says, "Lady, you utter madness and not sorrow." So that's what it is. That's what it is in response to.
Yeah.
So she's saying, I am not mad. I'm full of grief. I am not mad because I know who I am. I know my name and all of that sort of stuff. So just try that bit. I am not mad. The first part with
thou art
about
holy.
death is wonderful.
Okay. Start from thou art. Do you think it begins with thou art not holy to belie me? So
yeah.
I'm not. Okay.
So I mean, and think somebody's just said you utter madness and not sorrow. You're not really sorrowful or mad.
Okay. Thou art not holy to belie me so. I am not mad. This hair I tear is mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were. For then 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could, what grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, Cardinal. For be not mad, but sensible in grief. My reasonable part delivers reason how I may be delivered of these woes. and teaches me to kill or hang myself. I am not mad. If I were, I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouts were he. I am not mad. Too well I feel the different plague of each calamity.
Fantastic.
Rebecca, that was awesome.
Good. That was
Thank
brilliant.
you.
That was really awesome.
Thank you
I
so
mean,
much.
but
for
that
working
helped.
with me.
That really helped, Deborah. What you were saying of,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes we forget again because we know the story. We forget that if you're saying to someone, if you're trying to say to someone that bullshit, I'm not mad. The last thing you want to be is mad. You know what I mean? You want to keep it. But what was beautiful about that is by dropping it, we saw the progression of the fact they're not believing you. You know, Shakespeare doesn't write repetition for a reason. They're just not believing you. It was
Right.
really lovely and strong. Thank you for that. And it's good
Thank
to see you again. By the way, Rebecca is in Hong Kong, so it's almost midnight. It's like,
Oh my
no, it's almost
God.
1 a.m.
It's 1 a.m. here.
It's 1 a.m. in Hong Kong.
You're
so,
in Hong Kong?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in Hong Kong.
Talk
So,
about
yeah,
a place that makes you connect, I mean, through the riots and then COVID. So she's close to madness over there.
Yeah.
Rebecca,
it's
thank you
pretty
so much, darling. See you later. All right, let's jump.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Let's jump back to Mark with
Mark,
his
yeah.
Hamlet, and then Sue will get to you. So Mark, is everything set up to try your Hamlet again?
Yes,
Excellent.
but
Great.
sorry. That this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his canon against self-slaughter. Oh, God! God! How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on, oh, fie. So, 'tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead. Nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion, to a satyr. So loving to my mother, that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly, and heaven and earth must I remember why she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on't. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month or ere those shoes were old with which he followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why she, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. A little month ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married, oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Although I don't know why I gotta hold my tongue. Thank you for.
Well, that's interesting you should say that, because that's his dilemma, isn't it? He does hold his tongue. And,
Yeah.
And I think that's part of, well, that's a big part of it, isn't it? isn't it interesting that this is practically the first thing he says, isn't it? Do you think? Is it? Well, nearly. It's his first soliloquy, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's his first. It's the first time he's alone.
Alone, and he's thinking about killing himself.
Yeah.
That's his. He's not. So he's in a. He's very depressed,
Yeah.
and I think one of the what I'm saying is that I think one of the things about him is his inability to act, and in a way, and he goes into his mind, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And so I think, well, very simply, what I'm saying is, you've got all the emotion and the power and the feeling, but I think you can take your time. You can be yes, you can take your time with the words and the thoughts. So shall we go back right to the beginning, and I'm going to stop you. So what's happened? They've all gone, and
they have just basically told me that I've mourned long enough for my father, who's dead. I should move on. Like I've sufficiently grieved. And they have also just sort of publicly announced their upcoming marriage. So they just dropped that bomb and left, like, oh yeah, by the way, we're getting married.
Yeah. And he has his friends. He hasn't. His big friend, who he's Horatio, he hasn't met them. Anyway.
No.
Anyway. So yes, you're on your own.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on top. Fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this. But 2 months dead.
Just take your time. Sorry, I'm going to stop you. Just take your time with that. That was terrific. That sense of, I really felt that sense of despair, and yeah, that he can't kill himself. He would just like that feeling of not wanting to be there at all. That was great, and just take your time again, after oh God, just to sort of almost look around, and it's
To
not
almost what?
to look around. It's sort of like, I mean, not physically look around, but just to sort of think, the whole world is unprofitable. It's not. It's everywhere. It's just horrible.
And also to remember, Mark, we don't know, and maybe even you don't know, how much this is going to turn itself into your mother. At the beginning, it's your dad is dead, and it's a singular thought of, I wish it would melt. And it's really interesting with because melt comes at the end of the line. It's not even a full, he doesn't, oh, that this too solid flesh or sullied flesh, which is an idea I like, it would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into it. Actually, oh, that this too solid flesh would melt. That's the end of the line. And then it continues, thaw and resolve it. So don't assume you're going to get to that place of your mother. You know, this is the very beginning. I am tired. There's no point, right? Embrace that first and see, and then discover your mother. Does that make sense, mate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, really give yourself into that. This world sucks. And then find yourself knitting yourself into your mother, because when your mother comes in, suddenly there's mid-stop lines, there's full stops in the middle of the line, then you have to hop, so your brain starts going there. But at this beginning, it could just stop with like, I'm tired, you know, what's the point, you know? And let that come to you, yeah? Don't be there yet, let it come, yeah? And there's moments where you say, fire on it, I'm done. And then you come back to it. So really let yourself be done, but it won't leave you. Don't assume it's one whole speech. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God. God. How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on't. Fie! This is an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion, to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember. Why she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think about it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why? She, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason, would it mourn longer? Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. A little month there, yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes. She married. Oh, most wicked speed. To post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. Break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
And I think, do you want to come in, Chuck?
No, you go first. You go. No, please. Please. I just love watching you do this.
There's, and I mean that's terrific. That the start of it is fantastic, and I think there could be, as Chuck was saying, there could be a new energy or whatever, a direction on that it should come to this. I think that talking about it is an unweeded garden, exposed to seed. Well, and then, so that's the sort of generalized thing, isn't it? That's the general picture of everything is terrible, and then you're going into the specifics now. You're allowing yourself to actually talk to yourself about your father and your mother, and I just think you can take your time with the descriptions of her and of your father.
Yes.
And because he catches himself out, doesn't he? He's describing these things, and then it's sort of, by describing them himself, he catches himself. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Oh, it's so Shakespeare has written in these sort of cuts to the flow of the speech, if you see what I mean.
Yes.
And I mean, he keeps doing that, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Let me not
Yes,
think
a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's interesting that the speech, Deborah, really could be, but 2 months dead, she married with my uncle.
Yes.
Everything between but 2 months dead, married with my uncle, my father's, everything in there is him trying to get back to point. And he keeps letting himself, if you look at the speech, that sentence could be but 2 months dead, married with my uncle, my father's brother. But he doesn't, it's but 2 months dead that it should, and then he keeps wavering right down to talking about Niobe, all this stuff, whatever. But that speech could be but 2 months dead, married with my uncle.
Yeah.
So that's telling you about, you knew what you were gonna say, but these images, so that when you, like Deborah is saying, when you come to those moments, heaven and earth, or must I remember it, fire, they're explosions, because why am I here again? No. And you try to, do you see what I'm saying? So it's really about you. It's not that you set out to describe this. You when you talk, one thing that might help is going from, when you say that it should come to this, think of shifting your focus from yourself to trying to explain to your best friend in the audience.
Yes.
Think of shifting that focus from this solid flesh to your best friend in the audience. And even doing that, you can't help yourself from going into these other images. Does that make sense? This speech could be very much shorter, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead, married with my uncle. But look at all the places he goes. So try to keep coming back to the point and let these things take you. Do you see what I'm saying, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Also, it's wonderful that he, as Chuck said, if you're thinking of it, you're telling your friend, you're telling your friend, and instead of saying married with my uncle, you say my father's brother. So you're underlining the awfulness of the marriage, and you do that quite a lot, don't you? Just 2 months, nay, not, so you're really pressing the point of how awful these things are. So don't slide over these.
And Mark, try to really talk to your friend, as Deborah is saying, really talk. And you keep coming, look how many times you repeat a month, a little month, a month. I mean, really think of, you're telling your mate about, can you believe this, mate? And there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time for the universality. But remember, when you're talking, it's a little month, and your emotional life, Mark, will take care of itself. You have access. It's so clear. I can see that. You've got it. Now try telling this guy the ridiculousness of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
And so, you can think that if you said married with my uncle, you haven't got the response of how awful it is. So you have to say my father's brother, to stress, explain it to get the right reaction.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a big fan of writing a lot of notes. Okay. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed its canon against self-slaughter. Oh, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on't! Oh, fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not between the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly, and yet within a month, heaven and earth must I remember. Why she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on't frailty. Thy name is woman. A little month or ere those shoes were old, with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. A little month ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes. She married, oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Have we got time to do it again or not?
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Deborah, suddenly we have to pause. Sue's been, wait, what were you going to say? Just out of interest, what were you going to say? Maybe you can mention it.
To camera, Martinary.
Say again?
I just wanted to do it to the camera. You know, like
okay.
You're seeing somebody. Could you do it a little bit?
Oh.
No.
Okay, can I quickly just check one thing? 1 second, Mark. Sue?
Yeah.
Sue, you're watching. Are you okay? We'll be done in 3 minutes. Is that okay with you, Sue?
No, don't worry. I'm enjoying this so much.
Oh, great. Excellent. And
yeah.
if Deborah's happy, great. So, Mark, thank you, Sue. Mark, go for it
Thank
one
you,
more
Sue.
time to camera. Go for it.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Chuck.
Yeah, welcome, mate.
Just, you know, like, and as Chuck was saying, you're telling a friend. Can we see? Yeah. Yeah, there. Looks like you're looking at me now.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed its canon against self-slaughter. Oh, God. How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on't, fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely, that it should come to this, but 2 months dead. Nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember. Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet within a month. Let me not think on frailty. Her name is woman. A little month or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why, she, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. A little month ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her gallant eyes, she married, oh, most wicked, speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
That was great.
It's weird,
It's
Mark. I know for you,
fantastic.
it's so beautiful. This is for everyone, and Deborah will say, and Deb is one of the best at this of expressing so much without pushing it. It probably feels like you didn't work enough, Mark, or something like that. But everything, Hamlet, and you know the difference between that and the beginning is at the beginning I saw an actor doing Hamlet. And this version, I saw a person talking. This is how I stay with you for 4 friggin' hours. Is a person talking to me, as opposed to watching, quote unquote, acting going on. Does that make sense?
Of course.
It was all there. The man explaining his loss, it was all there. It feels like you're cheating, but it's not. If you've done all the work, you can let it breathe, right, Deborah?
Yeah, it was terrific.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No,
Thanks.
thank
Well
you.
done, mate.
Thank you.
And finally, we have, well done, we have Sue. Thank you, Sue, for being so patient.
No worries at all. This has been beautiful. It's been, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Like, I think we all are in these really dark times to have the ability to connect as artists. It's a gift. So
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Deborah, you need to know what I'm doing. I'm going to do Medea.
Yeah.
And it's the speech to Jason. One of her just as Jason. Jason, I pray thee, for my words but now spoken, forgive me. My bad moods, oh thou, can I start again? Sorry.
That's all right. Great.
I'm very nervous and I just
Don't
kept
be
getting
nervous.
nervous.
Don't be nervous. That sounded wonderful.
Why am I nervous?
I don't know. It's not. It was great.
Okay.
Deborah, stop making her nervous.
I'm not making.
Stop it.
You're so mean and not friendly. Lovely, lovely. Okay. Jason, I pray thee, for my words but now spoken, forgive me. My bad moods, oh thou at least will strive to bear with them. There be many old deeds of love twixt me and thee. Lo, I I have reasoned with myself apart and chidden, oh, why must I be mad, O heart of mine, raging against one whose word is wisdom, making me a thing abhorred to them that rule the land, and to mine own husband, who doth but that which being done will help us all to wed a queen and get young kings to brethren for my sons. And yet I rage alone and cannot quit my rage. What aileth me when God sends harborage so simple? Have I not my children? Know I not we are but exiles and must go beggared and friendless else? Thought upon thought so pressed me till I knew myself full fraught with bitterness of heart and blinded eyes. So now I give thee thanks and hold thee wise to have caught this anchor for our aid. The fool was I, who should have been thy friend, thy tool, gone wooing with thee, stood by thy bedside, serving and welcoming duteously thy bride. But as we are, we are. I will not say mere evil. Women. Why must thou today turn strange and make thee like some evil thing, childish to meet my childish passioning? See, I surrender and confess that then I had bad thoughts, but now have turned again and found my wiser mind.
A fantastic speech, isn't it? Fabulous. God, it's wonderful. I haven't got it in front of me, but I sort of know the story. So is she is, what is she doing? She doesn't believe all that she's saying, does she? Or
No. So at this point, so she had a fight with him earlier, and then this king of Athens comes. He needs fertility help, and I can do that because I'm part God. And so I get him to promise me that he will give me safe, passage and keep me safe if I can get myself to him. And then that's basically the ray of light for Medea, because up until then there has been no hope. She's just been trapped and she's banished. Creon banished her, and she has no way of getting revenge on Jason. And so now it's like opportunity, but she's already told him off. She's already told him, like, you're a fucking horrible dick. So now she needs to earn his trust back and to apologize, to mea culpa, so she can get him to believe her. And then that starts the steps of the plan, because then she's going to kill his wife and she's going to kill her children, and then she's going to escape and she's going to get like all her fucking revenge.
that's wonderful.
Like,
So she, yes, and she sends a bride. Does she send a bridal dress that?
Yes, a beautiful dress, gold, diadem, and it's poisoned, and she dies. Actually, it's very descriptive. She like bursts into flames.
Yeah.
And Creon, her father, holds her, and he dies. Like,
So
I
is
think
this
I kill
the-
everybody.
Fabulous. So is this speech to Crayon?
No, it's to
To
Jason.
Jason. It's to Jason who is going to marry the
Yes.
yes.
And I've
It's
protested
it's
so much.
terrible, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did it brilliantly, and you've got a wonderful face, and it's got such expression on it. So you looks
Means a
looks
lot. Thank
beautiful.
you.
So what can we do? Let's go back. Let's go back over it, and I'll just stop you. I mean, I think it was great.
Okay. Okay. Jason, I pray thee. Sorry, I'm showing myself and I can't watch myself act. Sorry.
Oh, all right. Yes. No, I understand you.
Jason, I pray thee, for my words but now spoken, forgive me. My bad moods. Oh, thou at least wilt strive to bear with them. There be many old deeds of love twixt me and thee. Lo, I have reasoned with myself apart, and chidden, why must I be mad, O heart of mine? Raging against one whose word is wisdom, making me a thing abhorred to them that rule the land, and to mine own husband.
I mean, I suppose I'm going to stop and this is just all very sort of minor things, really, but just to give a variety.
Yeah.
I think that you go from saying I'm really sorry,
Yeah.
and then there's a bit where you say it's all my fault. You take it all on yourself, don't you? And how we've had. You're such a great. We had such a great time.
Remember the good times.
Remember the good times. Yes. So maybe there could be a. I keep doing that because that's what I would do in a speech. I sort of do a slash, a line between to when it's a different emphasis.
Yes.
Or, you know.
Yeah.
So there is a little change of direction, isn't there? Of remember we had such good times and you were so fantastic, and I think that's just to be aware of those sort of changes in a big long speech like this. Try to get.
And also just to add on that, I know you're trying to convince him of your sincerity.
Yeah.
And you have a natural sincerity. But when we're trying to convince people of sincerity, we don't really play sincere because, especially the way the speech starts, that's like, I've been sort of like, God, I know when when you have an ex, but you haven't got over them and you're still hoping for a bit of a tumble instead. So you sort of like, remember that time? And you're making it seem like all you're doing is talking about that time, but actually you're hoping that it will titillate something and you'll have a little, you know what I mean? It's just play with yourself a bit. Surprise yourself. Do the negative. Do the opposite of sincerity. Okay. Go to the opposite of sincerity. Do the playful and see where that starts you off, you know? Just trying to say.
Putting a hat on a hat.
Putting a hat on a hat.
Yeah.
You're self-deprecating. It was my fault. I was fucking stupid.
Right.
Stupid, right? But you kind of like that, right? Are we going to get in bed?
Right.
Are we going to get back in bed? No, I don't want to get back in bed. But seriously, the point is just see go for the negative, as it act the negative tactic, the last tactic you'd have thought for sincerity, and see where that takes you. Yeah.
I'm just going to let myself go. I'm working so hard.
Yeah. And also don't forget, Sue, that Jason thinks with his dick. I'm sorry to say it
totally
so, but that's been his biggest issue. You know what I mean? The guy thinks with his dick.
And you're still stupid. Yeah.
Exactly. So give him his version of the woman he wants too. Do you know what I mean? And see where that takes you. You know him better than anyone alive.
Okay.
Just play with that. The sincerity will come, you know.
Jason, I pray thee, for my words but now spoken, forgive me. My bad moods. Oh, thou at least will strive to bear with them. There be many old deeds of love twixt you and me. Lo, I have reasoned with myself, apart, and chidden. Why must I be mad, O heart of mine, raging against one whose words are wisdom, making me a thing abhorred to them that rule the land? And to mine own husband, who doth but that which being done will help save us all. Sorry, I'm there. Will help save us all. Will help us all to wed a queen and get young kings for brethren to my sons. And yet I rage alone and cannot quit my rage. What aileth me? When God sends harborage so simple, have I not my children? Know I not we are but exiles and made and must go beggared and friendless else. Thought upon thought so pressed me till I found myself full fraught with bitterness of heart and blinded eyes. So now I give thee thanks and hold thee wise to have caught this anchor for our aid. The fool was I, who should have been thy friend, thy tool, gone wooing with thee, stood by thy bedside, serving and welcomed duteously thy bride. But as we are, I will not say mere evil. Women. Why must thou today turn strange and make thee into some evil thing? Childish to meet my childish passioning. See, I surrender and confess that then I had bad thoughts, but now have turned and found my wiser mind.
It's wonderful.
It's actually funny, the women, when you said tool, let me be your tool. I mean, it's, you know what's great about that is, like, I don't know, Deborah, you can, but it's not like she's trying to play that she isn't a little bit cray-cray. She's allowing him to see, you see what I mean? She's giving him the version of women. I know I've been cray-cray, I am cray-cray.
Hysterical.
I'm stupid. Yes, and I'm stupid for being that. So all those things came out. I mean, Deborah, what do you think?
No, I thought it was brilliant, and actually, we could have gone on a lot longer, because I think that there are huge sort of changes, fault passes, aren't there? Changes of direction, and she does. And that's what makes her so unpredictable and such a fantastic character, because she's completely, you know, well, what you were doing was completely seductive and sweet. And then you just suddenly turned at some point. You just went mad and said, I'm really cross. And
so is it okay to be a little schizo like that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I think I was making it too lot.
No. I think that's the way the it's written, isn't it? I mean, she's saying, I'm horrible, but I am cross, and please don't, but please love me. And right at the end, you were really seductive again, weren't you?
Yeah, and also for Jason,
and playing with the
and that's the mercurial quality that drew Jason to you in the first place, is that mercurial quality. For a guy like him that thinks women are stupid, that thinks he's one step ahead of them, what he wants to see is that cray-cray. Oh God, you're so skittish, you're so, you know, that's kind of what he wants to see. I mean, that's why he's with, I can't remember her name, the new girl. She's given him the other version of a woman, which is like, I'm just going to be subservient to it. He wants to see versions of them. But what was interesting is that, I don't know, Deborah, you can tell me if you felt this, but it was hugely seductive for a man that is in love with power, because there was a wonderful, brittle vulnerability about that. And I think it's in the writing, you know? Deborah?
And what's great is that because Medea is such a complicated character person, but what you were doing was by playing each thing wholly, then you get that schizophrenic quality. Do you know what I mean? So that when you were being gentle and sweet and saying, I'm really, really sorry, you were absolutely embodying that. And then you turned on a sixpence and were somebody else. And that's what's exciting. So you don't have to play being mad or dangerous, because you just were by doing the different things. One after the other.
And it was funny. Who would have thought that speech was funny? You know, it's like, you know, that's what it is. So, you know, thank you for that, Sue. And I'm sorry we kept you waiting for it, but that's a really good piece for you. And it's always, I mean, one of the themes, Deborah, maybe you can, you know, round up, but one of the things that's come through the whole series, not just today, but in general, is always remember to bring these people back to real people. Yourself, for all the technical work you do, really ask yourself, how would I really do this? Forget the epicness of writing or whatever, but bringing it back to actually asking yourself how you would do this, you know? Deb?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, in this weird time where who knows what, you know, when we are all going to get back on a stage, but I think this medium has been really useful, and I think it's just doing this little time today, it it makes it so much more vivid, I think, when people are speaking to camera. I mean, I don't think I am, but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
but then I'm not acting. But
Yeah.
but when you're actually doing it to camera, it's just more personal, isn't it, and more intimate, which you were doing anyway. That's what I mean.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I don't ever do classical work, so I have no classical training, and so I was shitting a brick about doing it.
Well, it didn't seem like it didn't
You
seem like
seem
that.
very at home with it, you know. And again, it's taking away that thing of take away this label of classical work, so I have to be a different kind of actor. You're still going after the same things you do in any of the pieces. You're asking yourself what you want. You're using ways of getting what you want, and you're breathing into it as a real person. It's the same thing. Yes, there are a few other rules, but a lot of those rules, I always find that when you give people a sort of a pedestrian rule about, can you remember to breathe, especially when doing things like Shakespeare and stuff, just take a breath when you really need one. They'll take the breath at the end of the line anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's weird. So don't worry about that. You're a good actor. You're a human being, and you can approach classical work with the same confidence as anything else. So thank you so much for this. Guys, wow, Sue is the last participant in this incarnation of Bounded in a Nutshell, and Deborah is our final guest master in this incarnation. So Deborah, I'd just like to say on behalf of everyone, thank you so much. And going over, you're the second longest session. Glenn Fleshler beat you by 7 minutes, but you're the second longest. Thank you for your incredible generosity. I adore you as a person, as a friend, and as a colleague. I can't wait to do Series 3 with you.
But you've all been fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's open up the guests, please, Michelle, to say their thank yous to Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah. This was lovely.
Thank you
so much.
What a pleasure. What a privilege.
Oh, it's been really lovely to chat and examine all those wonderful pieces of writing. You're
wonderful.
Fantastic.
And I guess you're off now to water the garden. So,
yep.
Yes. Deborah, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much, guys.